1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Have a seat. That was incredible. Have a seat. My group is some high five. Hey, as he's going through high five in his group, let me let you know something. The best job I've ever had in my life is a motivational speaker. I absolutely love this job, and I got to explain to you why. I get the opportunity to go around the country and say you matter to the most interesting individuals, the most beautiful people I have ever laid eyes on in my life. On the other hand, this is the toughest job I've ever had in my life. Because I can book myself throughout this great nation every single day on young people who don't believe that they matter. I can book myself, I can get booked and get paid. I can put my whole business, me and Danny, on going to funerals of young children who didn't believe that they mattered, and their decisions look just like that. It breaks my heart to go to different cities across our great nation right after someone has taken their life, right after someone has overdosed, right after someone is laying in a casket. And usually, when I go to those places, what I see is a bunch of people just like you. Saying, I wish I would have said. I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have said that. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I just saw so-and-so yesterday. I can't believe they're no longer with us. Right before that person put that needle in their arm, I wish they would have known that they mattered. Right before they made that decision to steal whatever that thing was, to buy that piece of that drug, whatever that thing may have been, I wish they would have known that their kids were going to be crying at their funeral tomorrow. There's not enough of us that are speaking truth in this situation. This microphone is driving me crazy.
Is that you?
Is this me?
No, that's you.
Is that me?
Here, take this one.
Check. Microphones matter. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Dang.
It's still happening. Whatever. Anyways, we're just going to keep rolling. There's nothing worse than saying it too late. There's nothing worse than going through a situation that happens too late. And I challenge each and every one of you to not listen to the microphone feedback.
You don't need a mic.
It's off. I challenge each and every one of you to take the time that you have to let other people know that they matter. I challenge each and every one of you to tell your brothers and your sisters and your classmates how much you care about them. Because in my life, I've missed my opportunity multiple times. And I said that same thing over a dead body.
I'm going to show you guys a picture, and this is very, kind of difficult. I'm the one on the right. If you look up there, many of you in this room are about 14, 15. A lot of you are older. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I know you got your license. But if you look up there, that was me, my freshman year, 14 turning 15. I want you to look at it. And I want you to look at the person before you right now. There I see pain. Here I see joy. There I see pissed off. Here I see happy. There I see somebody that doesn't want to be alive. Here I see somebody that can't contain how alive he is. You understand me? When I look at the one on the left, though, there's something that bothers me. Something we don't talk about enough. That person was constructed by his family. We don't talk about that. You see, we all got generational baggage, and I want to talk about mine right now, because I believe in this room right now, I feel in this room that you understand where I'm coming from. When you look at that, I want you to picture my mother. My mother is a beautiful, compassionate woman who happened to develop earlier than younger women, and her father was a professional gambler that would have drug dealers and swindlers over the house. And he would proposition my mother to them. You see, my mom My grandfather, her father, his name is Vincenzo, by the way. I'm a very proud Italian. I got boys named Luca, Marco, and Giovanni. I'm a Ciamarra. My mother's a Belcamino. My grandma's a Corelli. My wife is a Ferrelli. We are Italian love. But Vincenzo, my grandfather, would speak words into his children like, "You're a piece of shiitake mushrooms." You know what I'm saying? He would say things like, "You're a whore," to his daughters. He would say things to his middle son, "You're the stupidest mother that I know." Now, when those words are received onto you, you believe them. You accept it. That's my mother. Let's go to my father's side. This is where it gets really good. My grandfather was an alcoholic. My grandfather took pleasure in getting really, really drunk and punching my grandmother. My grandfather took pleasure in molesting his own daughter, my aunt. My grandfather took pleasure in hurting my father. You see, I tell you this because those things are passed on to us generationally. And now my father has had to try to overcome some of those pains and not pass them on to me. And I've got to tell you, there are moments in his life where he sucked at it. And there are moments where I couldn't be more proud of my father. You see, all of us have generational baggage. That picture right there was predetermined for me. And I got a choice. Do I matter? If I believe the answer is yes, then I cannot accept the lies that were spoken into me. I cannot believe that just because my grandparents were that way and my parents were that way, that I've got to be that way. You feel me? Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It stops with you. It's done today. I've got 3 beautiful boys. And there are times I want to beat my own you-know-what because of the way that I slip up and remind myself of my father. And there are times where I celebrate. Dang, I'm a good dad. I broke the curse. Do you see what I'm saying? In this room right now, I want you to know the generational baggage that you have, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's only your fault if you let it consume you. Jackson's yours.
So if you look over on the picture on your right-hand side, see a young brother. Anybody here watch the movie Straight Outta Compton? Yeah, y'all remember that movie? That's Straight Outta Love with him, right there. Y'all want to see Straight Outta Love with him? That's what it would look like, right? I remember how angry I used to be, especially when my friends, just like my boy Danny right here, talked about being Italian. And he talked about the last names of Italians, first names of Italians. I myself, being an African-American male around mostly Caucasian people, they wouldn't understand why I would get a little tight-lipped when they would talk about their heritage. I remember going to school and being one of the only people that looked like myself. I remember being accused of stealing things I haven't even seen yet. I didn't even know they were even there. I remember what it was like when I would hang out with my other friends and folks would call my friends names because they hung out with me. I'll never forget this picture. A couple guys said, "Oh, yeah, you're on the racer." That's exactly right. I was on the racer at Kings Island. I was with my friends. And I would always wear sunglasses. I wore sunglasses all the time because I wanted to mask how I really felt. I was scared to show people. I don't even need it now.
Yeah, I feel good too.
I was scared to show people who I really was. I, Nick Jackson, young black male, special ed student, embarrassment of my household. I, Nick Jackson, the one that had dated girls that got beat up because they were standing next to me. I, Nick Jackson, the one that would study real hard for tests and fail. I, Nick Jackson, the thug. I remember how hurt my mom would be when we would sit in IEP meetings And if you don't have a learning disability, if you don't know anybody who does, we have these meetings every year called IEP. The only black people in the room will be me and her. And we sit across the table and we look at our teachers and principals and whatnot. And I remember them telling my mom what I'm not going to be. And my mom would weep openly. Not just because of what they're saying about me, but what I realized was my educational experience is not going to be much different than hers. She worked so hard to get us in the best schools. We hear the same things that she heard in the schools that she was going to. I can't tell you how embarrassed I was to see her cry. And I would sit there and I would look at this picture. I'm sure we all have pictures of ourselves, and they make a snapshot of our life at that time. I remember how pissed I was at the cards that I had been dealt. And I remember the way that I would take care of myself and my friends was I would act crazy in class and get in trouble and get sent to the office. I remember how embarrassed I used to be when people would see that I didn't read very well, and they would make fun of me. If you're in this room today, and there's someone or something in your life that is telling you that you are too white, too black, too tall, too short, too fat, too skinny, too ugly, too pretty, too anything. If there's anyone in your home that wakes up in the morning and says you're too dumb, too smart, too this, too that, what I'm telling you right now is that is a lie. Inside each and every one of you is something that's so beautiful, I can't explain it. And the sad thing is, a lot of you guys aren't going to be able to make it to a point where the world gets to see it. I need you to understand this. That guy right there wanted to kill himself. I remember praying to God that I wouldn't wake up in the morning. I remember telling my parents, I'm forced to go to a school where people hate me. I'm forced to go to a place that is not fun, that is not built for me. I'm failing. But what I didn't know was I wasn't alone. There was people that were just like me, that were looking for someone to be there for.
So I'm going to go back to the pit one more time. I told you about how we can accept generational baggage, right? In my accepting the lies that were spoken into my life, I wasn't on an IEP. I was in the gifted class. I was the straight A student. I took every AP class my school offered. Got straight A's and everything. But came to school high. You see, what happens when we try to build communities is we build them based on how we perceive ourselves. You catch that? How I feel I am as a person is who I relate with. So I felt that I was a piece of junk. So I ran with people that believe that too. And I would piss a lot of people off because they would say, you got more talent in your pinky finger, right? Same thing was said to Nick. Than most people have in their whole life, and you're going to waste it. I'm going to get wasted too. I was a bum. Because I believed I was a bum. People told me I was a bum, so I stayed in that and believed it and I lived it up. I said, watch, I'll prove to you how much of a piece of junk I am. So I started at 13, drinking in my basement, all by myself. See, it was a nice day, like a couple days ago when it snowed. I stashed my beer under the snow because no one would find it. The only problem was I had to drink it before it melted. That wasn't a problem, that was fun. That's what I had to do. Because I believed it. Started smoking pot when I was a freshman. That led into LSD. Which led into other drugs, and I could go down the list All the way to the point that one time I had to look my mother in the eye and say, Mom, it's true, I really did smoke crack. Now, I told you, straight A student. What I wish my teachers would have known is that I was battling demons. I wish they would have seen in me the pain that is on that picture and said, what can I do? And even if they did, I wish that I would have had a heart receptive enough to take the help. I'm telling you right now today, ask for help now. Don't try to live out a lie. Change the story. The only way to predict the future is to create it. If you want to see yourself like that played out till you're 30, go for it. But I got to tell you, that pain carried on for 17 years. 17 years of me drinking and drugging to the point that I was bleeding to death from my throat and my stomach. The doctor told me, you've got 6 months unless you quit. This was in June. I didn't listen. I went all the way till September until I woke up on a sidewalk in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, weighing 105 pounds. I hadn't eaten anything. I was hoping that I would die on that sidewalk. And then I can't help but say it feels like a miracle. Somehow, some way, I gathered up the strength. I called my parents, and I said, Mom, I'm in trouble. And these words broke my heart. I feel like crying about it right now. My mother and my father drove all the way to North Carolina from Cincinnati. It's 598 miles door to door. 600 miles. Drove all the way there. They loaded up my stuff out of my apartment into a U-Haul because I was too sick to do it. They put my car in the back and towed it all the way to Cincinnati. And they said these words to me. Son, I've never supported your lifestyle. There's nothing you can do that will keep me from loving you. Nothing. Those words wrecked my soul that day, people. It took that person and killed him and brought this person alive. You have power in your words. I challenge you today to speak life into your community and not death. I challenge you to speak love into one another and not hate. I challenge you to dismiss lies and accept the truth that says I'm freaking awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. It's funny because when I listen to Danny talk about being the honor roll kid, that was never my existence. I had 2 brothers, and both of my brothers were both honor roll kids, and I was the one that was lucky enough to be on an IEP. I'll never forget, there was one teacher at my school that saw something special in me. You guys are athletes, you know. We used to go into the school before everybody else does. So I played football. Football was a place where if you were a big guy like myself, if you were angry, you could score a touchdown and everybody would scream your name. I remember when I was a kid, I used to play in the backyard. I would throw the ball up in the air. I'd catch it all by myself, and I would act like somebody's saying my name in a positive light. I remember being a little guy, thinking to myself, when I get in high school, I'm going to get to hear my name on the loudspeaker, and it's not going to be associated with loser. I remember when I was a little kid, I was thinking to myself, one day I'm going to stand in the end zone, and people are going to be proud of me. The way out of my bad situation was athletics. And sadly, I saw the gym, like the gym, like the locker room, the gym, the weight room. I saw the weight room more than I saw the library. Sadly, I treated my coach like my father, and I treated my teachers like garbage. Sadly, I didn't see how important I didn't even see education even help me. Why would I even care about that? I would score touchdowns. And see, in the thing that would happen is, I would take a test and pass it, and no one would say a thing. I'd study for 4 days to pass the test. Nothing. I score 1 touchdown, and people go crazy, and little kids are wearing my jersey. Where am I going to put my attention? Do I want to pass the quiz? Yeah, I guess that's cool, whatever. But if I get a scholarship, I get to leave here. And I'll be somewhere else, in college, somewhere else. I remember I was at school, working out with my boys, getting ready for football. And we're in the hallway after working out, we're just joking around, and a teacher screams out, "Hey, who's that?" Now, if you're like me, you know, Anytime a teacher is speaking to you, you're in trouble. Right? And so I was with my boys and my dudes, they do what they are. You know what I'm saying? My friends, they're horrible. They were just like, yeah, it was him, right? And I was like, yeah, it was me. And this guy, Mr. Raines, pulled me aside and he said, Nick, so the teachers have been talking about how bad you are in class. Nick, I just want you to know, there's teachers in the teachers' lounge that they joke about your parents. Nick, I want you to know that there's people at this school that hear your name and cringe. There's teachers that are excited because your name is not on their class list. And he said, I want you in my class. And I looked at him like, you are the dumbest white boy. Like, what? Why would you want me? See, because what would happen in class, especially, he taught English too, right? What would happen in class, if I was doing something I was uncomfortable with, I would do whatever I had to do to get sent to the office. To me, even though the office was supposed to be a place of discipline, it was a safe place for me. The only thing I had to read was a disciplinary slip, which usually said detention, in-school suspension, and those were places that I didn't have to do any work. So send me to the office. I was in the office so much you would have thought I was the secretary. I'm telling people where to go, where stuff is. And this teacher said, look, Nick, you have a voice that's beautiful, and people need to hear it. When you speak, you change the way people feel about themselves and their own lives. You have hope in your voice, and I need that in my class. I'm used to teachers telling me to get out of their class. And in this instance, a teacher spoke right to me when I needed it. He invited me into his class, and he made sure I was on his class list. First day of class, I walk in, and if you guys play football, you know the first week on Friday, you usually have your first game. You have to be eligible fourth quarter to play football. I walk in to his class, and I'll never forget. He tells everybody, hey, I just want you guys all to know Nick Jackson's here, right? And they're like, oh, I know, right? This dude. And he said, we're going to be reading Shakespeare in this class, and Nick's going to be Romeo. And he did something that was so smart. Teachers, I need you to hear this. He did something that was so brilliant. I'm sure you all do this too. He picked the cutest girl to be Judy. You feel what I'm saying? The cutest girl to be Judy. In the grade, the cutest. I mean, she was black. You feel me? Right? So, I was going to make sure that I'm not missing the class. You feel what I'm saying? I'm coming early. I'm doing my homework. I'm in. And when I got the book, so we had these big books back in the day. When I got the book and started reading Romeo and Juliet, I'm Romeo, this girl's Juliet. When I got the book and I got to the part where I didn't know what the word was and I started to falter. You'll find this in your life, right? When you stand up in front of other people and things don't go as planned. And I started to make mistakes, and if I'm in church or if I'm in school, right when this happens, I would like throw the book and walk out of the room. And when I started to falter, he was behind me saying, hey, keep going, you're doing a good job. Don't stop, don't quit, keep going. Don't stop. He would push me with his words to keep moving forward. I'll never forget how that changed my life, and now today, I've spoken to over 500,000 high school and collegiate students. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Spoken to almost every principal in the state of Texas. I own my own company, and I get to travel the world with my friends. And I owe this all to a teacher that believed in me. Teachers, I think you need to hear this right now. I owe this all to a teacher that believed in me, that looked past what everyone else said in the teacher's lounge, that looked past what all the other parents said, that looked past everything else that was in their face that was bad about me. And they saw the beauty inside a young man. And because they did, oh Lord, the lights went up. Yo, we okay.